I've only ever had one guitar stolen, and I still think about it every day. My friend Robby had 200 guitars stolen, and the guitar I had stolen was cool and unique and irreplaceable, but it was just one guitar. So I just got off of a Zoom call. I interviewed Robby, and so here is our conversation. He, somewhere around probably December of this last year, he had 200 guitars stolen. Now, there have been other videos about this, but this is July 1st. So this is kind of the most recent, most updated. About 20 of these guitars have been recovered, but there's still many of them that aren't. So check out this video. Check out our conversation about, there's a lot in here, but there's some really great points. The biggest points to listen is just what happened and what you could do differently that would protect yourself in the event that your guitars get stolen. But there's a much deeper and much more meaningful conversation that happens towards the end about the ethics of buying guitars. This Venn diagram of it's too good of a deal, it's too rare of a guitar, and it's too low of a price, and there's too crazy of a story attached to it. My wife has cancer, I have to sell this guitar, it's a $10,000 guitar, I'll sell it to you today for $900. The ethics of being the person that's buying that, that's hearing that. So this is truly one of the coolest conversations I've ever had. We talk about suffering, and we talk about suffering can and often brings out the best in people. And I think with Robby, it's just refined him and brought out some really great things in the human experience. So check out this conversation with Robby, and then just keep your eyes peeled. In the description down below, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. There's going to be a current PDF, the list of guitars that are still missing. There's going to be his email address, his contact info. If you have any questions, if you see guitars like this around the country, I mean, so far they've all been in the US that we found so far. And it's been a pretty systematic rolling out of these guitars around the country. But I think there are enough of us, and we're smarter and more committed and more clever. And so I think we can help find them. So check out this conversation with Robby and myself.
And yeah, it's been a crazy few months.
Yeah. When did you find out? Like when did you have your heart fall out of your body?
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. I was playing board games. It's really hard to even talk about it. I was playing board games with my friends one night at our house, and it was about 8 o'clock at night, and I got a phone call, and it was from Joseph that owns Olivia's vintage guitars.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Most of the dealers know me because I'm a professional musician all my life since 8th grade. I've played in bands, but I've also always, every town I'm in, I always hit the stores and I always look around, because I think you put it on one of your pages somewhere. I thought it said, like, it's your soul, it's your heart. Like when you find the right guitar and and I just love guitars. And so anyway, I get this call about 8 o'clock at night from Joseph, and he says, "Hey, Robby, I just got a guitar shipped to me today from Guitar Center out in Reno, Nevada. And in the case, there's a sales slip from when you bought this guitar in 2004. And it was a 1960 ES 330 mint condition." And right then, you're nailing it, dude. You know what I love about this whole vintage thing is most people are feeling like you do. Like I mean, you relate to it. It's not a pretty thing. So I had to go. So I said, "Oh my God." He goes, "I know you don't sell guitars. You buy them and you own them. You can call it collecting, you can call it whatever you want." But so bottom line is he gives me this information, and I have to go back and play the board games with my friends, and I'm about ready to go throw up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on and I'm out of town. So I call my buddy, one of my best friends who lives near my storage unit. And I said, "Hey, can I give you the storage information and you go there tomorrow and see what's going on?" And I had this funny feeling. I thought maybe 1 or 2 guitars might have gotten stolen, because I had to move everything into the storage unit, and I hired a couple guys to help me move everything.
Yeah.
But it had been 3 years since I got divorced 5 years ago.
Okay.
And during that transition time of the 2 years of divorce, I lost my home.
Yeah.
I had every guitar displayed on the walls, and I
Holy
played
moly.
them, and I touched them, and I saw them. My people would come to my house, and they probably, if they weren't a guy like you and me, they would think this guy's a lunatic. He's got 200 guitars hanging on walls.
Yeah.
All vintage. So I call my buddy, and he says, yeah, I'll go there tomorrow morning. I tell him where to go to get the key, where to get the code, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't think my heart could sink any lower. He goes there and he calls me. He says, dude, I'm at your unit, and this lock is not the lock you told me. I bought one of those disc lock. You know? I was told, I actually truly thought they were safer in my storage unit than they were in my house. And the reason I thought that is the storage unit said, oh, we have 24 hours video surveillance. We drive around. We do all this. It's called Central Safe Storage. Safe storage. So all of a sudden my lock's gone. There's a master lock on it. So he goes and talks to the people, and he says, hey, we need to get this lock cut off. And they go, we can't do it until Monday. And this was like a Friday, right? So he said, I'm going to go get some bolt cutters. I'm going to cut it off. So he got the bolt cutters. He opened it up. There's nothing in the unit, nothing. And a 10-foot by 12-foot that had been stacked at that time with guitars. I have photos of the guitars because I actually photographed them when I stacked them in there.
Yeah.
And literally nothing was there. They took every single thing. And that pretty much, that was a pretty tough moment.
Because there's one level in which it's a violation of you and things that you own. Behind that, it is because I know, like, I've got a bunch of guitars back here, and I know every guitar has a story, and the guy I bought it from, and the story he told me, and the shows I've played with it. And so it is a direct violation of your legacy. Like, it's a way bigger thing than just the stealing. I can't imagine. It's you and your identity and your life and all those shows you've played. Man, so, and I've seen, I skimmed through the casino video, and I think you emailed me the list a couple weeks ago, and I talked about it on my live show, and we just talked about how, I mean, the painful lesson you are going through that other guitar players are trying to pick up on now is, I know the first thing I did was take pictures of everything and write down serial numbers and lock the door and just like, Yeah, I
tell people, what's funny is they did a video on this, and it says world's biggest guitar collection ever stolen, right? And because the value is so high, these are really and beautiful pieces, custom color Fenders from the 60s. And so the thing is, and PRS and Gibson, I had a lot of different things, but I told even this attorney I'm working with, because now we're thinking about a lawsuit against the storage unit. But even the attorney collects baseball cards. I said, take a photo of every card, write down every bit of information, log it, because in all honesty, I had files on everything. I mean, I have the file when I bought it, the receipt, but a lot of them were in the guitar. The receipts, like this guy that called me, Joseph, it's in the guitar case. And then when they stole everything, a lot of my files were in there too. That's the other thing. Keep your files separate from your stuff.
If they get the guitar, they also got your proof of everything you know about it. And
and they made a great story, because we've recovered 20 of the guitars out of about, I'm going to say, I say it's about 200. I think I list 170 on my sheet, but there's some that I don't have records of. And I know people say, well, how could you not know? But I've been doing this for 40 years. Okay. I've been playing 40 years. And like you said, some of those guitars, I have one guitar with almost 10,000 gigs on it, my 1966 Strat. And that's my baby, that's the only guitar I've ever owned that I have a name, Ernie. And I have two guitars that Fender made for me that are master built guitars that nobody could ever do anything with. They say Robby Z on the 12th fret. On the back of the headstock, they say custom made by John Cruz, master builder for Robby Z, right on the headstock. So because
that guitar, it's like John Cruz is no longer with Fender. And so you're like, now that thing is gone. The ability to replace it is gone. Your only chance is to try and find it. So how were the 20, because what's crazy to me is it feels so systematic and deep as far as these guitars. They've not shown up locally to you, I don't think, have they? They've dispersed around the world.
Well, hopefully not around the world.
sorry, around the country.
Yeah, so let me give you a little on that. So what happens when Joseph called me from Olivia's Vintage, what a great thing to do. He called me, the detectives on the case. See, here's the deal. When we reported this and filed a police report, the detective said, don't tell anybody. Don't do this on the internet. Do anything. Because we're going to follow leads and we're going to find out who has all this stuff. And we don't want to scare them to where they hide under the brush. So for this happened, the actual robbery, we believe, happened in December of 2020. We didn't even find out until February. Okay. And the reason is I don't go over there every week and monitor it, and I travel and I'm gone a lot. So the thing is, it took a lot of time, and now we're finally getting it exposed. So what happened is some of those guitars, so when Joseph reported where he bought them, the first thing the detectives did, they actually drove up to Reno. And they went right to Guitar Center and said, okay, where'd you get this guitar? And they said, we bought 5 of them. We bought 5 from a guy. And now they took the guy's driver's license. They took the information, but bad guys have fake IDs. Okay.
Yeah. And also, I mean, maybe they were fenced, that there's some level of,
Yeah. So what happens is then Guitar Center, because they are a big enough company, they have fraud insurance. So they were able to give people back their money and collect the 5 guitars that they had sold. Okay. And they immediately shipped them to the police department in San Jose, California, to the property division. So there was 5 guitars that came back right then. And then they said, well, actually we had, and I'm not tell you the truth. A lot of it's kind of sketchy because the detectives don't tell me a lot of information.
Yeah.
Like if somebody murdered your wife, I hate to equate that to stealing a guitar, but if somebody murders your wife, they're not going to start telling you all the leads. They're afraid you're going to go take a gun and shoot the guy.
Exactly.
And the same thing with me. So they're afraid I'm going to go do personal possession. So they don't give me a lot, but they followed a lead that went to Las Vegas. And they recovered a guitar in Las Vegas, a Jaguar. The Las Vegas Police Department did. That guy gave a lot of information, the guy who bought it. A lot of these are people that bought the guitar.
Okay.
Now, when somebody comes up to you with a $10,000 guitar and says, oh, it's $1,200 and my wife is having breast cancer and I need to pay for surgery. And, you got to wonder, how much, you believe it. But so far, every guitar we've gotten back, the guys who they've been stand-up people, man, that said, hey, look, and to be honest with you, less than a week ago, I got a phone call one night at dinner and a guy just said, hey, my wife saw the video and I think I have 3 of your guitars. And he said, it kills me because I bought them. I think they're yours. And he sent me the photos and I said, yeah, those 3 are mine. And he said the guy had a couple others and we spent a lot of time talking. It was really a beautiful thing because his dad and I actually are the same age, went to high school in the same district together.
Wow.
Oh, it was this whole connection that was really crazy. So he's actually, today is Thursday. He's actually returning those guitars in person to the San Jose Police Department and going to do an interview about the people that he bought it from and that. And again, I'm not privy to that information. The detectives won't give me a lot of information, but I also have a private eye who's investigating and following up, doing the stuff the police won't do, because the police, their job is not to find my guitars. Their job is to find the thief.
Exactly.
It took me a while to figure that out. That they want me to get my guitars,
but they want, felony, grand larceny, breaking and entering. They want charges, warrants.
That's their job. Their job is to
Absolutely.
bring it to the DA and arrest somebody, not to go, I recovered the guy's guitar. I mean, they want to do that. They're great. My detective that I work with is amazing. He's gone way over and beyond, and it's so appreciated. But in all honesty, it took me a while to figure that out. That's why we had a private investigator come in, because he can actually go after a specific guitar, because I get leads. The stuff I'm doing with you won't believe. That's how I got the 3 guitars. And I haven't even got them yet, but they're being set back.
Yeah, that's where.
And
that's where, like, I'm on the total other side of the country from you. I'm in the Shenandoah Valley, and but I mean, I do not doubt that these kinds of guitars, because I mean, it's just all the who knows who, and it's my cousin lives in this town, and these guitars kind of hop, skip, and a jump all around.
Well, and it's not only that, but the internet, you have as many followers probably in Europe than you do anywhere, or California, everywhere else. So it's more that what I didn't realize, because I'm not really a super big internet guy. I mean, my girlfriend would tell you differently, but I didn't realize the amount of response that I've gotten from people saying, you got to get a hold of this guy. You got to get a hold of that guy. You got to talk to Jeremy. You got to that, because I didn't realize there's so many people out there that have such big followings, and the amount of attention you get and the amount of respect you get is really amazing and incredible, especially in this situation.
I appreciate that. So my channel is all focused around buying and selling guitars. And the thing that's just hitting me right now, I teach people, because most people don't want to be me. And they probably don't want to be you, like that. They don't want to own hundreds of guitars. They don't want to spend all their time buying and selling. But the question I'm coming to right now is, I always talk about the ethics of selling guitars, like things you should disclose, how to leave people with their dignity, and when you're buying something from somebody. But I hadn't thought about, and I have a pretty good, BS detector when somebody's lying to me and something's shady. But I don't think everyone is thinking that many steps ahead of, like, this person could be lying to me. This is too good of a deal. So what are some of the ethical things that you would hope people would have in buying guitars? Or, like, what are tips for sniffing out when people are being suspicious?
Well, that's a great thing. And I love what you do, because I know your whole channel. I'm a subscriber, and I know.
Oh, man.
And I think it's awesome. And to be honest with you, I've bought hundreds of guitars, obviously. I mean, I just from my collection that was stolen, and I still have other guitars that weren't with that unit. But the point I'm making is that I have a lot of experience buying guitars, and I've learned over the years. I've gone to guitar shows. I've hit every guitar store in the United States when we're on tour. I've done I was doing the Joe Bonamassa stuff 30 years, 20 years ago. Remember, I got a picture of me and Joe when he was just this little fat kid, and we were same place looking at guitars, because awesome. He was actually opening for our band.
Whoa.
And so the point is, I've been doing this a long time also. And so what I do is I really have really big confidence on certain dealers. I prefer to deal with dealers nowadays. If it's something I really want, there's guys like Elliot at Rumble Seat. There's guys like and Chuck that works there, and Joseph. There's a list I could go on of dealers I have total faith and confidence in that have been around a long time. And when they say this is what it is, then that's what it is. Okay. And when you're just buying off of Craigslist, that's where you start getting into the sketchy stuff. And that's how my guitars have all been sold on Craigslist. Okay.
Yeah.
And they go on for a few hours and they pull them off, and so, the thing is, I really prefer to pay the right price and buy from a reputable person that I know, because the old days are gone. In my opinion, I used to look at the newspaper every day before there was internet, and there would be a guy selling a guitar for $300. So
absolutely.
$1,000. Those days are so far gone. My wife had it under the bed, and he died 40 years ago. Very few and far between are you ever going to find a guitar like that. And when you do, it's usually, it could be a story. Like all these guys had a great story behind these guitars they sold.
There are a couple stories, and then there's a lot of going to an old cabin in the woods and it's a 5-year-old Yamaha that's been sat on the couch.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I've chased down a lot of guitars at midnight in the pouring rain. I remember driving to San Francisco one night, I got there and it wasn't, it's a Gibson Les Paul, and I get there and it's, not.
It's a classic or something.
The thing is, I've chased a lot of guitars, but I've never bought a guitar that I didn't just truly love. I wouldn't buy. It's funny that way. And even being a professional musician, I wouldn't even use a product that I didn't believe in. People say, I had a guitar company offer me, I want to give you some guitars, they're good guitars, but they weren't what I want to play on stage.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing when you're buying a guitar. Buy it if you truly love it and you really have a feeling and a connection, because every time I open one of those vintage cases, if my heart doesn't start pounding and feeling really like, oh my God, then I shouldn't own that guitar.
That's awesome. I know I've fallen into the somebody would like this, it's a good deal. And then I get it and it sits around, then I feel guilty for having it. And it moves on.
Well, I don't sell my guitar. I don't sell.
Yeah.
I think there was a time 20 years ago, maybe, where I was always trying to upgrade. So if I had 2 of something, I would sell 1.
Oh, there you go.
Do that. But the connection is pretty strong. And even now, I'm having a real difficult time because even the 20 we've gotten back, I've lost some of that. It's like, I always relate this stuff to women, but it's like, once you break the trust, sorry, honey, I had an affair, but I still love you. You can try it for a while, but once you've broken that trust, it's a very difficult thing to ever really come back. And I kind of felt way with the guitars right now. I'm really having a hard time because, again, I don't have a home anymore that I can display. I lost everything 5 years ago in my divorce, meaning my home where I can hang guitars and all that. And I keep saying, I'm going to eventually do that. I'm going to eventually do it. But I sold 5 of those 20 that I got back to Joseph at Olivia's Vintage as a thank you for being the guy that stepped up right away, and I'm willing to work with anybody that, somebody that has a lead on my guitars. And I'm actually right now today, I decided I'm going to try to do a website. I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but I went out and got a domain name for Robby Z Guitar Collection.
There you go.
I'm going to try to list it so people can access the guitars easily rather than opening downloading something.
Yeah.
People are kind of skeptical about that, but I don't really know how I'm going to do it, but I'm on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So and so I'll let me know when that stuff comes up. I'll share that. I want you to find as many of these guitars as you can. Because I know, I've seen the PDF, and once I saw it, I saw the Casino. I mean, most everybody has had the same list, but it's hard to keep track. I mean, it's the same thing with any business organization thing where you're like, I don't know if it's the most recent copy of the list or if it's the total list or where things are.
Yeah, well, mostly that list is for if somebody walks into I sent that list originally to every guitar store I could find, which was a few hundred worldwide. And people I know, because the idea is some guy walks in with 5 guitars and you kind of look at the list, you go, that's interesting. There's 5 really cheap guitars and they're all on this list, Yeah.
Then, well,
you know what you're into. And that's really what I did for that list. And also, the detectives required it immediately. So I had to put it together as fast as I could without any real, I didn't have my files or anything. So I'm constantly upgrading it. Last night we found 5 more serial numbers. I find pictures of me on stage. I zoom in and I try to find things that identify it. So it's been a really crazy 6 months. And guys like you, man, it's a huge help. And all I could say, if anybody watches this video and they've got any idea about any of this, I have so many people you can't believe that are sending me messages going, hey, this guitar was on Craigslist. Hey, this guitar. And I don't care. I'll chase every one of them down. Even if they're not even close to being mine, I want to at least see it, But I love what you do about buying guitars and about the whole idea about, because there's a whole thing within that too.
I think a lot of small towns have lost guitar shops, and you've lost those guys that knew everything about a guitar. And so I'm trying to preserve and kind of bring in, because I was really fortunate to hang out with all of the old guys and ride around with them and buy guitars at yard sales. And So I'm trying to invite people because it's just such a good life to connect with people, hear the story of, I played this guitar for 55 years. It's just, that's the hard drugs for me.
Let me tell you a really quick story, because this is kind of funny, that I was actually online about a few weeks ago looking up just stolen guitars. I just typed names on Google, right? 2 articles came up that were both about me. And I'll tell you what it was. There was a great blues player who just passed away about a year ago named Ron Thompson. Ron Thompson, Mick Fleetwood called him the best guitar player he's ever heard. Wow. He's played with B.B. King. He's played with everybody. He's one of the best entertaining, mostly a West Coast guy, but has played all over the world, Ron Thompson. Well, I see one day in the newspaper online that he left his car at a gig, loaded it up, and then somebody stole the car. It had 3 of his guitars in it, as well as a bunch of other stuff. They stole the car. They stole everything. Yeah. So I called I called his manager directly. I don't know this guy. I played some gigs. We played festivals together, but I don't know him personally. I called his manager. I said, why don't you get a street team out right now today to put out stolen equipment, all the pawn shops, all the guitar stores, at least in that area, which was at the time, Oakland, California. So sure enough, 2 days later, she gets a call from a pawn shop, said a guy came in to sell me these 3 guitars. And one of them was a 1959. He's been playing ever since 1959. The guy was 70 years old, right? He's been playing this guitar. It's his baby. And so the guitar store gets the guy's phone number. This is a great story. He gets the phone number and said, I think I have a buyer. I'll call you back. So he gives me they call me, the manager calls me. I call that number, and it's like a little gangbanger out of Oakland. And I'm like, hey, I heard you might have some guitars. I don't know nothing about what you're talking about. And I said, well, okay, wait, hung up on me for 2 days straight. Finally, about the 3rd day, I said, look, I don't care where you got these. I don't care. I got a cash reward. I'm going to give you $1,000, but I want those guitars back. Okay, I'll find out if I can get them, So it went against every grain in me. I tried to get a buddy of mine who's a cop to go with me, but he said, no, it's really dangerous. You're going up to Oakland. Oakland's not the greatest area to meet somebody at 10 at night. No. So we meet at 10 at night in this parking lot behind, and I'm 50 miles away, but I drive 50 miles. I go up to Oakland, and we meet in this parking lot. He's got these guitars, and he's behind a McDonald's hamburger. I got a picture of him. And I said, I'm going to drive up in my little white Toyota pickup truck. You're going to throw the guitars in the back. You're going to come to my window. I'm going to hand you $1,000, and I'm going to drive away. Anything different happens, I'm pulling away, and you'll never see me again. So we did it. I pull up, and he runs over, and he throws the guitar. He goes, gets 2 of them, and he goes back, gets a 3rd. And then I take a picture of him, and then he comes over to the passenger side. I said, no, the driver's side. He comes over. I give him $1,000. He goes, no, you said 1,500. I go, dude, take the 1,000. I'm out of here. And I just slammed on the gas, and I took off. I went across like 4 lanes of traffic. I was so nervous because everybody kept saying, they could just take your $1,000. Oh, yeah. You don't have to do it. So then I call Ron Thompson's manager that night, because now I'm 50 miles away from home. And I'm like, I got your guitars. And they're like, now they're sketchy, going, this guy, we don't even know. Really, maybe it ain't even really Robby Z. Maybe it's somebody. So finally, we meet at this gas station. In the meantime, he's got his car back. This has now been about a week. It's all gutted. His seats are gone. He's sitting on like a little plastic chair inside driving his car. It's completely ruined, but that's all the guy had. I mean, the guy had nothing. And so all of a sudden, I go to give him his guitars, and there's all these Hell's Angel guys around. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? And he goes, don't worry, I brought them along for my security. There was like 6 Hell's Angels, because he didn't know if he was being set up. So I got some photo. I'll send you a photo of me and him on the back, on the back of a pickup truck. So over the next 2 weeks, I got a couple of interviews with NBC and all these TV shows that wanted to hear about recovering his guitars. So it can happen. And I just did it out of pure love of this. I know what this guy, now I know what he's going through. But at the time I knew, dude, this guy is dying. It's not only his livelihood, it's his babies, man.
That's the thing, man. And it's like, it's legacy. It's years of dedication. It's every time you flipped open a paper, looked on Craigslist, or called any dealer. I mean, this is a direct attack on you. And it's really amazing to me. I think suffering can bring out the best in people. And it seems like for you, it's suffering either makes you way less of who you are, so, like bitter, angry, destructive, or it makes you gracious. And like, it's amazing that your response was generosity. Like, I'll sell you 5 of these guitars. You can make money on them. I don't know, man. I'm really impressed with you. And I think that it's a really amazing testimony to friendship and kindness. And yeah, that's what's coming. Like, when you get cracked and broken up, what comes out of you is generosity, kindness, friendship. That's amazing.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. And I'll tell you what, I was so puking sick to my stomach. And then all of a sudden I looked at my girlfriend and I thought, I'm the luckiest man in the whole world, man. I could have been a phone call saying my son was in a car accident and he's dead. It could have been my wife just got hit by a train. A girlfriend. It could be any of these things. And I thought, I'm so lucky. And then the response I've gotten, out of 62,000 views, 95% are just like, dude, I feel for you, brother. Oh my God. And I've tried to respond to every single one of them. There's 1,200 or whatever. And it's about the humanity and people. And even the other guy called me last week and he said, I got 3 of your guitars. And we got into the whole father thing. And he sent pictures of his father, sent pictures of me. And I said, we probably played in bands that know each other, but you're right. The humanity has been amazing. And it's such and then I will tell you one thing, that 5% that didn't, the 95% was just beautiful. The 5% were like, you're an idiot for not having insurance. And you know what? They're 100% right. I had insurance on the stars for 25 years. And in 2012, I stopped my insurance. I got tired of paying the $3,000 a year. I thought they're safe. I don't have to worry about it. I was stupid. And I responded on those replies. I say, you are right. I was an idiot. You know what they say? Dude, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to come across that way. I feel for you, brother. It brings out the best in them, too.
Yeah. And that's where, like, putting yourself out on the internet, you're going to get people that just for whatever reason want to just be jerks. And,
but I don't mind. Honest to God, I truly don't mind, because a lot of it is true. And they say, oh, you're just a hoarder, all those guitars. They don't get it that when I was 12 years old and I opened that first guitar I got at Christmas, that feeling I got.
Yeah.
I've relived that feeling 1,000 times with my guitars, and I do it for that. And even if I had insurance and they said, here's your money, nothing would change for me, because this isn't about money. And I think you understand that as well as anybody. This isn't about money. This is about love of guitar and love of music,
for sure.
It's crazy. But so it's going along, and anybody that can help, man, they can email me. You can put my email on there, robselesi@gmail.com. They can get a hold of you or get a hold of me. I would appreciate anything. I've got all kinds of people now looking on Craigslist in their areas and watching and monitoring. And we're going to do what we can do. And in the meantime, I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm healthy, and I made it this far, and I'm going to be okay,
And that's, I think the part that works so much in your favor, well, first of all, is the community and just the awareness that so many people have on this. The other bigger part is you have such specific taste that they're not common guitars. Where, like, you see a weird colored Jaguar, you're like, I've never seen one of those in person. Like, if those show up anywhere, they're so specific. And I think it's
right. I told the detectives, I said, I'm not selling, it's not like you're looking for Volkswagens or Ford Taurus. You're looking for Lamborghinis and Ferraris and I don't mean that by expense. I mean they're just really rare.
Exactly. So, and that's where you're like, you look at, some of those rare color Fenders from the late 50s, you're like, they only made 60 or so of that color, or, where you're like, and then the fact, what would one person have that? And then another rare color and a third, you're like, where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's where I think the biggest takeaways, because I think the first obvious takeaways are probably pretty selfish for most of us watching this, which is, I need to take care of my own guitars and write down serial numbers. I think that's valid. But I think the deeper part of this is that you have to, there's a deep level integrity deep level of integrity required of us if we are buying guitars. And if you see stuff like this, if it looks too good to be true, chances are it is, especially when it's those concentric circles of it's a rare color, it's a crazy price, and it's some crazy life event that has to sell. Like if you're making up a story to get away with fraud, those are the elements.
Yeah. Very good point. So that goes right into your category. But I will just say this in case if one person watches this video or 1 million, the bottom line is this. I've learned I have so many brothers and sisters out there in this community, and it's such a beautiful feeling. It's so amazing. And people like you and Baxter and Joseph and all these guys that are doing this business for love. And I play music for love. All I've ever done in my life is do it for love. And so I just thank every person for their support and for their great wishes. And even the people that want to make the funny goofy comment, I have no issue with that. Say whatever you want to say. I'm okay with it, Awesome. But I appreciate any help from anybody out there.
Yeah, brother. All right, man. Well, this is so good. And I hope they all come back. Bless you, man.
I'll keep you posted all the way, and you do the same, brother.
Awesome. Perfect. And so this is very end of this video. So I'll tag everything down below. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter. And this is a great example of filling the world with music and friendship. That's literally what we're trying to do. So thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you soon.